Tony D and Little Joan with a screenwriter's rant on Kicking Blood, an unusual vampire movie about addiction that has an intriguing premise, but I think it's a poorly cut trailer. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. Links in the description. Comedy Horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 8. So basically, this character, I think her name's Anna. Yeah, she's a centuries-old vampire, and they and her friends hunt and drink blood and usual vampire stuff. And then one day, she wakes up and meets this guy Robbie, who's an alcoholic, and he's falling apart. His life's falling apart, and he's like in a rough shape. And I guess she befriends him or is already his friend, and he starts to recover from alcoholism, and she decides she's inspired by him, and she decides to do the same thing but with blood. So she decides she's not going to feed anymore. She's going to try to become human again. Which, this is an intriguing concept. It has been done before, and there's a love interest there. So she's looking at food again and trying to expose herself to the sunlight and trying to feel again like a normal human. They keep cutting back to this, though. I don't know what this is. Just a miasma of blood, I guess. But the trailer kind of spirals down. On the one hand, it spirals up appropriately, where they keep telling her, you got to kill this guy because, I don't know, he knows too many secrets or whatever. I guess this is a dream sequence. But she insists on kicking blood, kicking her addiction. And then it just ends on the miasma. I don't understand what the moviegoers or movie makers were going for with this. Really just, here she is feeding again. Here are more vampires. I'm not sure what this represents, but yeah, it's kind of annoying. Alanna Bale, is that a relation to what's her name? Batman. Benjamin Sutherland, is that a relation to Keith or Donald or both? I don't know. Luke Bialik. So it's an intriguing concept to focus on. I mean, again, it's been done before. People who become vampires but they don't want to, and they try to regain their humanity. A whole movie focusing on it and treating it like an addiction, that could be interesting if it could be done. Depends on the rules you set up with in the beginning of the movie. Typically the rules of vampires is after you've passed a certain threshold, there's no going back, but you could always change the rules for a movie like this, and it could be interesting. Maybe she does regain her humanity at the end. That would be interesting. After centuries of living, she becomes a human. I don't know if the other vampires would let her live. If that was the case, I think they would kill her, or she would die in the attempt. Would seem to be the most likely ending. She dies in the attempt, or regains her actual age, which would kill her. So, I mean, those questions would be interesting to me, right? Does she gain her actual age? Does she, start to become an old woman? Do the other vampires set out to kill her, or do they know she's going to die? What's the ending here? Could go a lot of different ways. If I had to break it down, the first act is vampire stuff, typical vampire stuff. Oh, we're hunters. We're going to kill you. Then she meets, I think his name's Robbie. Is that his name? I think they call him Robbie in the trailer. So, director Blaine Thurler, writers Blaine Thurler, Leonard Farling Matt Watts, story editor. So she meets this guy who's drunk. For whatever reason, she likes him, maybe helps him out, and maybe I think he wants to be a vampire at some point. He asks her to turn him into a vampire, but I guess she declines. And then he gets clean, and that inspires her. So she decides she's going to get clean. And then the third act is, the fallout from that. As she gets weaker and weaker and the other vampires pressure her, it's got to come to some conclusion. If I had to guess, she probably dies in the end. But it would be interesting if she somehow lived. She somehow pulled it off. And the other vampires just let her go. I don't know. So it's interesting. But that being said, the trailer itself is terrible. They keep cutting back to like this image of I don't know what this is. Is that her face? Maybe? I can't tell. No, it's not her face. It's just like swirling masses of color. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I don't know. I don't know what it is. And it annoys me. Because I'd like to know what the hell's going on in a movie. You don't have to tell me the ending. Especially, I don't want you to tell me the ending. But just cutting to a color is weird. And there's the young guy. There are the other vampires. So, I like vampire movies in general. They're fun to do. They don't require a tremendous amount of special effects. Pretty much anybody can be a vampire. Typically, you want young, beautiful people because that's the old trope. Like, that's who the vampires pick because they're stuck with them for years and years and years in their society. So obviously, they pick the most beautiful people. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this is going to end. I'm a little wary of the movie because the trailer it's so odd. But odd in a way that I don't think is good. Odd as a way I'm just confused. But that all being said, I like the premise. The cast seems solid. It looks well produced. So they're calling it a fantasy movie? I guess. It didn't seem like a fantasy movie to me. It didn't seem like a fantasy to be a vampire and then have to kick blood like it was a heroine. I would call it a vampire movie. Seems like vampires should get their own subgenre. I don't know why fantasy. Fantasy to me is more magic and, unicorns and stuff like that. Vampire movie, I think. I don't know what it is with YouTube describing movies not quite correctly. But anyhow, that's my evaluation. I'll be doing the live stream at 2, about 15 minutes from now. We'll be playing Minesweeper, and I'll be talking out of my A as always. So hope to see you there. If not, check us out on Odysee, Bitchute, and Rumble. Check you in the next one.